Alright, it's been pretty much 10 days, and my last update was for the 1 and 2 day mark of being without Kratom after, regular usage of it. I go about that in my other videos. But right now we're on day 10, almost into day 11, and I've been wanting to do an update, so here it is. Essentially from day 3 all the way up to today, the symptoms have been pretty much the same throughout, and they're all more so those kind of post-acute withdrawal symptoms rather than the really severe and annoying and debilitating acute withdrawal symptoms. So like the restless body syndrome pretty much mellowed out and went away for the most part after about 5 days. I would say like right now I maybe get like 30 seconds of a wave of a feeling of the restless leg syndrome kind of washing through my shoulders mostly, that only lasts a short period of time, like 30 seconds or whatever, and then it pretty much goes away. But other than that, pretty much the entire spectrum of the effects is really low mental energy, like no focus, concentration, low physical energy that kind of comes and goes in waves. So throughout the day, it'll feel like a crash that you get from having a big coffee or whatever, having a big sugar and caffeine crash, essentially like that. And then there'll be times where I'm physically kind of almost overstimulated and in a very restless and unfocused way, where it's like I have kind of a lot of energy, but I don't have the focus to direct it in any specific direction, and so it's kind of just frustrating and annoying. And I usually just spend it working out, which has been really good to get back into the workouts, but I'm just sore, extremely sore, from the workouts, and then kind of the background soreness all the time from not having any kratom in the system. But I'm focusing on that next day. Like I essentially have it in my mind that every hour and every day that I continue without it, everything's going to get better and better and better. So I'm like looking forward and trying to focus on that future moment where I just notice myself feeling a lot better on a moment to moment and day to day basis, which I know will come back 100%, or maybe not 100%, but it for sure will come back. And I do think it would come back 100%, and I believe that it can get even better at any time as long as we do the right things. Which one thing I've noticed, and this is a big thing for my rant that I wanted to do, but I wanted to talk about what I noticed without that numbing and that warm, cuddly, that warm, fuzzy feeling that just feels like everything is fine, and you just feel mentally and physically comfortable, that comes with kratom. Now that I don't have that anymore, what I'm noticing is, for one, I spend way too much time looking at a screen and basically just watching YouTube. But it's actually like hurting my eyes and hurting my brain and hurting my mind and hurting my ears to be consuming as much information and stimulus as I do on a regular basis every single day. And at the same time, it's also like an addiction to it, because I'm finding myself scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and like hours can go by and I haven't even really watched anything, and I've been starting to really like notice it so much more, where I'll be watching YouTube for say half an hour, or even before I start to watch anything, I'll say in half an hour I'm going to ask myself what I watched on YouTube and see if I can remember from even like 10 minutes ago, because so often it's shorts, so it's like 15 seconds and you watch 100 different things in 20 minutes, and without the numbing effect of Kratom, I feel like this behavior of the consuming material like that at such a fast pace and just a bunch of nothing, like nothing material, no value, no, I mean there is value, but there's no way to retain it or do anything with it. But I feel like just that process is actually damaging my brain. So that's the next thing on the chopping block. Now that Kratom has had its head chopped off, the next thing is screen time, as well as caffeine. And you know what? These are all rabbit holes that I've gone down at least once or twice before and had a lot of success. Like this one time I replaced all screen time with reading or doing anything else, but if I was going to sit down and do something like go on my phone, I replaced it with reading. And I also stopped drinking coffee and caffeine for 3 days. It was only 3 days, and pretty much right from the very first time that I went to go sit down and use my phone, that I stopped myself and said, no, you're not allowed to use your phone. Pretty much right from that moment, I had like extreme agitation in my body and my mind that normally would just be being drained out and wasted by sitting on my phone. And now that I didn't have that drain, this energy built up like so extremely quickly. And over those 3 days, even though I didn't have any caffeine in me, I was way more stimulated, and I recovered from my workout way faster. And you know, it's like we literally have so much untapped potential, just like the tiniest fraction of an inch away from the surface. And every little thing that you do in your life gets you a little bit closer, or unlocks just a little bit more of that potential. And that's probably one of the things that I really enjoy about not being on Kratom, is when you're on Kratom for a long time, every day, it 100% it starts to close up your creative eye, and like your interest in, I guess I shouldn't say your interest. I'm talking about myself, obviously. I'm not trying to put words in anybody's experiences. But what I noticed in myself was what felt like an actual closing of my third eye at one point in my life, when I was not consuming any kratom for pretty much an entire year at that point. And there was a lot going on, but I was meditating quite a lot and practicing a couple different things and having conversations with the Mormon church, so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I think is the full name. Anyway, I could feel like my third eye, if you want to call it that, but just my intuition and my sense of connection to the source or whatever. I could feel that pretty strongly, and then I started taking kratom again and I could feel that sense in my forehead and in my creativity and my desire to learn about spirituality and to practice spiritual practices. All those things I could feel, they just dried up slowly over a couple weeks, to the point where for the last, I don't know, 6 months or so that I was on kratom more recently, I was not doing much of that at all. And now that I'm off kratom for only 10 days, it's already coming back quite a lot, and I'm noticing all these bad habits that I picked up while just numbing out on kratom. Anyway, that's kind of a ramble. I'm gonna cut it there for right now, and maybe I'll do another video. I might address a couple comments. There's a couple comments that I wanted to talk about, so we might do that.